Happy Friday. Come on, avoid the snow. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Today is Friday, January 18th, 2019. I'm getting ready to get snowed on. I don't know where you're at, if you're expecting a bunch of terrible weather, but here in the Chicago area, we're getting ready for, at least where I'm at, we're being told about 3 to 8 inches of snow. I don't know. I have no idea. A lot of times they tell us there's going to be a bunch of snow and it doesn't turn out to be a bunch of snow. And then other times they say, oh, well, it's about 2 inches that we'll be getting and we get just dumped on. So I don't know. I have no clue. But there is a good deal of the United States that is going to be getting hammered with some bad weather. Some folks have already gotten hammered by some snowfall. So hopefully, if you're in that situation, don't be driving unnecessarily, anything like that. Be careful out there. Stay safe. All right, so anyway, if this is your first time tuning in, this is a very, very casual show. Tonight, I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at the Order of Vampire Hunters from Dark Gate Games. This is a miniatures-driven horror game that I am not familiar with Dark Gate Games at all, but they were kind enough to send that along for me to take a peek at, so I'm going to crack that open, and we're going to get into some miniature goodness there, because the minis look pretty sweet, at least on the box they do. So before I get into the show, couple of things I want to mention. Number one, last night I did my review for D&D Dungeon Mayhem, the card game. And then I was also talking about one of my favorite old school Renaissance role-playing games, Basic Fantasy Role-Playing Game. And I talked about how the PDF is absolutely free. And I also said that BX Essentials, which trying to remember who that's from. They have an oddball name. Well, I don't mean to say oddball. I think it's something like Noctis Press or something like that. I made the mistake of saying that the B/X Essentials line of PDFs were free. That is not the case. Now, I could have swore I got the core rulebook free on B/X Essentials, but they are not. They are actually $4.99 over at Drive-Thru RPG. So I apologize about that when I was talking about, hey, there's a bunch of cool different OSR games you can score for free. The BX Essentials line is not one of them. Although I have to admit, there is a bundle. I think it's 7 books now that they've got. And I think the bundle is $20. So I'm not terrible, but then again, not free. Although I have to give a thumbs up, BX Essentials is pretty good if you're looking at basic or expert old school D&D. Very well written, very nicely put together. All right, so anyway, do want to point out, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you catch a few videos on the Gaming Gang channel and you like the channel, please subscribe, hit that little bell, because that way you'll be notified when I have a live stream and when I have a new video. So, do want to point out, this is a live stream. It is on YouTube. I know a vast majority of people don't tune in live. Most people actually just catch the show after the fact. But if you are watching live, you want to say hello, there is chat available. I do pay attention to it. It is not on screen. It's one of the ways that I kind of keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. But I do pay attention to the chat, so if you want to say hello, or if you have a question, or maybe, as we're taking a look at the Order of Vampire Hunters, there's something you want a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will respond. All right, so I've got a bit of news today, a bit of tabletop gaming news. If you are one of those handful of people out there who do not like the tabletop gaming news every day, look in the show notes. Check out the show notes. Timestamp right there. You can skip right ahead. Anyway, but I've got some cool stuff cooking on today's show. Coming in March is an interesting miniatures-driven fantasy adventure game. We're taking a look at one miniatures game tonight. This is another one. It did catch my eye when it was originally on Kickstarter, and it's from Panda Cult Games, and I swear this was, I believe, a news piece that I did on one of the first episodes of the Daily Dope. Anyway, here's the dope. Wanderer, the Cult of Barnacle Bay is the first game in the Wander series, a fully cooperative, campaign-driven miniatures board game. Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay tells the story of 5 heroes from the Wanderers Guild and their struggle to free the small fishing town of Barnacle Bay from the slimy claws of Elder Bane. Driven mad by power and physically twisted from dark magic, Elder Bane has created a cult of mutated townsfolk that only deserve to spread their message of madness. I should say only desire to spread their message of madness to the rest of the world, bending it to their whim along the way. Sounds like my life story. In Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay, players will select one of 5 unique heroes, outfit their hero with starting gear, represented by mini cards on a player dashboard, and join their friends to take back Barnacle Bay. Defeating foes and surviving random encounters earns players experience points and loot. Loot, like weapons and armor, is a persistent upgrade, staying with the heroes as they continue on their adventure. Experience points are used to level up heroes during their current adventure in the campaign. A dual-facing upgrade tree allows players to continually try new combinations of skills each adventure to determine what fits their playstyle or current set of foes best. Using a modular board, players assemble maps as indicated in the campaign book, then use action points to move or attack with their hero. All enemies in the game are controlled by a simple line-of-sight AI and automatically hit the player's heroes once they're able to. This means there is no player rolling for success for enemies' attacks. Heroes will, however, be able to roll for defense in an attempt to prevent incoming wounds. One set of custom dice determines a hero's success for both defending and attacking. Random encounter cards, which are revealed when players enter an unexplored darkness space, also promise that no campaign adventure will ever be the same. Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay is for 1 to 5 players, ages 12 and up. Kind of surprised it's 12 and up having miniatures, so I don't know, but that is the info I've got. It does play in around 45 minutes to 2 hours, and it will carry an MSRP of $100 when it arrives in March. I also want to mention there are a slew of expansions that are going to arrive at the same time. I swear, I thought it was like 6 or 8 different expansions that are going to come out at the same time. I believe a lot of them are additional miniatures, additional heroes, maybe some additional villains out there as well. Gotta say, this does look pretty interesting. It does have the anthropomorphic. Should have taken a sip now before I started using that word. Anyway, so it's got animals. Yep, anthropomorphic animals in the game as well. Looks kind of interesting. Pretty cool. I am not familiar with Panda Cult Games. To be honest, I think this is their first title. And memory serves me right, it did well on Kickstarter, but it wasn't like one of these $1 million games or anything like that. They easily blew away their funding goal, but I think they pulled in about $170,000, $180,000 on that one. So it looks pretty neat. That painted miniature that's flashing by, looks like the miniatures have some pretty good detail. All right, moving right along, there's a very unique looking family-friendly game which is on the horizon. It's coming from Blue Orange Games, and I've got the dope on Planet. Yes, that's right, it's just called Planet. The spark of life is about to jump from your hands to spread out in the world. Deploy your mountain ranges and your deserts. Spread out your oceans and your glaciers. Whoops, why did that just do that? Hey, that's weird. Not sure why that suddenly switched to the next news piece. Live show, what can I tell you? Anyway, deploy your mountain ranges and your deserts. Spread out your oceans and your glaciers. Handle wisely your continents to form environments suitable for the apparition of animal life. And maybe you'll manage to create the most densely populated planet. In Planet, each player receives a magnetic planet core without anything on it. Each turn, players take turns choosing a tile with a mix of mountain, ice, forest, and desert on it, and attaching it to one of the 12 surfaces of their planet. Then the player who fulfills the most conditions for the appearance of certain animals gains its card. After 12 rounds, the player with the most points from their collected animal cards and their personal terrain goal card is the winner. Planet features simple but engaging gameplay that is easy to get into, but that requires important decisions at every turn. The tactile experience of turning your personal planet in your hands gives Planet a unique trait in board games. Whether you're adding terrain tiles or surveying your territory while competing for animals, you'll be looking at accessible strategic gaming from a whole new angle. Planet is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays around 30 to 45 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $34.99 when it emerges this April. I gotta say, this looks pretty unique. Looks pretty interesting. Of course, yes, the planet, the 12-sided die-ish planet does look a little gimmicky. I mean, because in reality, it's really just tile laying, right? Except you're just attaching the tiles to your planet. But this does look kind of cool. Looks like a little puzzle aspect, because it looks like you have to make sure that when you drop that terrain tile on your planet, that you're matching up the different sides, the different terrain sides to each other. So this could be pretty cool. I would take a guess this is a game that's going to have a good amount of table presence. So, you say you like tableau building games? Well, tell you what, Sinister Fish Games has you covered this spring with a historically based title called Villagers. And I've got the dope. You are the founder of a new village during the Middle Ages, in the years after a great plague. Which could be a lot of years during the Middle Ages. The loss of so many people has created big problems for the survivors. Many of the people the villagers used to depend on for essential things like food, shelter, and clothes are gone. Craftsmen find themselves without suppliers of raw materials. Traders have lost their customers, and many have lost their farms and workshops as they escape the plague. The roads are full of refugees seeking a new beginning. They come to you, hoping to settle down on your land and make a living. Your grain farm is the ideal starting point for a village, reliably providing food for many people. You must choose wisely who you allow to settle with you, as your food and resources are limited. The people on the road have valuable and unique skills, but they all in turn rely on other people with very specific crafts to be able to work. Raw materials, tools, and services must be provided by other people from the road. If you manage to find people that can work together to make a profit while increasing your food surplus and capacity for building new houses, your village will be prosperous. The game also comes with a solo mode where a lone village strives to prosper in spite of the dreaded Countess and her evil machinations. Villagers is for 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 30 to 60 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $26 when it establishes itself this May. Do also want to point out at the same time is going to be an expansion. It's a $9 expansion. It is 4 mini expansions to enhance your villagers gameplay. I gotta say, this really has my interest peaked. I like tableau building games. I like the historical aspect that this is a game that's taking place in the Middle Ages. very interesting if you ever read up on the Black Plague. I actually listened to an excellent lecture series. I want to say it's from the Teaching Company that was about the Black Plague and how the Black Death really changed the way economies worked in Europe. So people who were basically, you know, down and out, just the lowest of the low, turned out that their skills were needed after the plague has passed through and half the world's population is no longer kicking. So I thought it was very, very interesting, very cool stuff, very contemporary too. The way it was, the way the lectures were presented. So very, very nice. This looks pretty interesting. And I gotta say, $26 for a game that's gonna take you about 30 to 60 minutes. That should be a pretty good deal. Pretty cool. Okay, so finally, in role-playing game news, Free League Publishing and Modiphius Entertainment are preparing to release the first major supplement for the Coriolis RPG, which I just happen to be reviewing next Thursday. And I've got the dope, although it's just a little bit of dope, on Mercy of the Icons Part 1, Emissary Lost. Who is hunting the mystics of Coriolis, and why? Street reporters call it the Mysticides. Scores of mystics have been found dead or disappeared without a trace. When a friend of yours disappears, it becomes personal. Can you solve the mystery before it's too late? Coriolis Emissary Lost is a long-awaited expansion to the award-winning tabletop Coriolis, the Third Horizon role-playing game. The epic, space saga is set for release on January 31st, and it will change the Third Horizon forever. Yes, why did that not switch over while I was talking? Something is screwy with my news slides tonight. They are not going off when they're supposed to go off. That is not cool. Anyway, gotta point out, I have hardly any information about this supplement. I believe it's the first major release, major expansion to Coriolis, because I think there've been a few 15, 20 page PDFs that have come out, but nothing, nothing big, right? So this is the first big one. I don't have a page count. Gotta be honest, I don't even have an MSRP yet, and it comes out in a couple of weeks. Now, Free League has put up a video on YouTube. I would have shared it with you, but I uploaded it ahead of time to make sure that I didn't get dinged with a copyright infringement, and I did. So I'm like, okay, I won't be including that video. But it does show off some of the artwork, gives you a little bit of background, but kind of the same as I talked about right here. It's not a lot of info, but a lot of pretty cool art. Pretty cool art. So that is it. Yeah, see what is going on? That I just clicked on it to move to there to me like this, and all of a sudden it starts playing a video. I am gonna have to take a look to see what is going on with this program. So hey, at least double checking today. We got no drop frames. Our CPU usage looks good. Looks like we are not getting like a low frame count. So it's not all choppy and things like that like it was for a couple of shows this week. So cool deal. Very, very cool. All right, so before I get into taking a look at the Order of Vampire Hunters and telling you what's coming up on the show next week, I do want to point out once again and ask that you please consider donating to Lil Bub's Big Fund at the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or ASPCA, because I already pointed out something new. All profits of the Gaming Gang and the Daily Dope, outside of our operating costs, are going to be donated to Lil Bub's Big Fund, which actually goes to grant monies to organizations who are caring for animals that have special needs while they're waiting for adoption. Now, I did have somebody email me the other day. Now, here I'm talking about this stuff, and I forgot to take Lil Whizbub down. Lil Whizbub. Somebody had emailed, and they had asked, they had commented that, well, you know, the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has not always been a charity that all the money that they brought in actually went out to, you know, care for animals, which that's usually the case with charities. A vast majority of charities, nonprofits, whatever, they don't. Nonprofit does not mean that no one is making a profit, okay? But one thing, the reason why I keep talking about Lil Bub's Big Fund is because this is actually a fund that grants organizations that are caring for special needs animals. And 100% of all funds that are raised are given out as grants. You can actually go to the ASPCA website and see that for a fact. Now, as far as the other things that the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals does, I do not know. I have no affiliation with them. I have no affiliation with Lil Bub or Lil Bub's owners or anything like that. It's just that I had pointed out earlier this week, and this is not just something that's going to be going on for, you know, a couple of weeks or something like that. This is from here on out. I didn't get into this to get rich, to make money, which is a good thing because I didn't. But I do make a little bit. I do make a little bit, and just the whole story with Lil Bub, it's Lil Bub, and the inspiration of this story of this little cat who's got all these genetic issues and things like that, but just is still just the sweetest, most lovable thing you can ever see. I thought, hey, you know what? Rather than just sitting there and, you know what? So I put a few bucks in my pocket every month and stuff like that. I don't need that. I don't need to do that. I would prefer to be donating that to a worthy charity, a charity that I believe in. And I have always had a soft spot for animals. I have 2 cats myself. One is mine, one's my dad's. One is a feral cat, and the other is a shelter cat. My cat, Smokey, who if you watch the show, you've probably seen her on my lap every once in a while. She was a shelter cat, so I adopted her from a shelter. She's all black, and it was a toss-up between her and another cat, and somebody had mentioned while I was at the shelter in Arizona that people don't adopt black cats because they're bad luck. I said, F that. I'll take her. And I didn't say F. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on. I am going to be doing some stuff in February and putting things together. I'm going to be doing some auctions of some games where everything outside of the shipping cost for me to send it out to whoever is the winner of the auctions is going to get donated to Lil Bub's Big Fund. I'm going to do where, you know, if you make any kind of donation to the fund, even if if it's $1, $5, what have you, if you let me know, I'll give you a shout out on the show too. So yeah, just I don't know. So somebody else had asked, how come I'm not doing something in my own name, setting something up for the ASPCA, and I don't need to do that. I prefer to like have it in something else, right? So with Lil Bub's Big Fund, it's all going to special needs animals. So that to me, that's important enough. And Lil Bub's a hell of a lot better looking than I am. So there you have it. All right, so next week, finally ironed out what I'm going to be doing. In fact, I wasn't even sure what I was doing for tonight's show, but I did see that this was supposed to arrive today. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. I'll do the unboxing if this shows up. So this is fresh off of the FedEx truck. Probably about 3 hours ago it showed up. All right, so on Monday's show, I am going to review Codenames Marvel from USAopoly. yes, I was supposed to review this a couple weeks ago, and then I was off that Monday. I didn't do a show that Monday. So that'll be on Monday's show. Tuesday's show, I'm going to show off the new expansion to Shards of Infinity, Relics of the Future. I might do something else with this too, because this is just little expansions with some extra cards and stuff. Maybe I'll do a little quick review of something to go along with this as well. Wednesday's show, I don't have it with me. It's actually in the car. Wednesday's show, it's Wargame Wednesday, so I will actually unbox and take a first look at the second edition, the new edition that came out from GMT Games of Andy and Abyss. It's part of their coin series. At the top of my head, I think it was the second or third coin game that came out. So very recently, a new edition with some changes, some rule updates came out. So we'll take a peek at that. Already mentioned on Thursday's show, I will be reviewing Coriolis, which is from my friends over at Free League Publishing, as well as Modiphius Entertainment. I did a nice first look and page through of this a couple of weeks ago. Very, very interesting. I'm not going to ruin anything by saying anything before the review. I have a bad habit of saying, oh, well, you know, I like it. No. Mum's the word. Although, okay, I like it. But I'll tell you why. And then on Friday's show, I am going to review Shadow Rift. This is a really interesting deck building game, a fantasy deck building game that is from Starling Games. And I want to say they had an expansion that was up on Kickstarter very recently. I think it just finished up. So I was not familiar with that. But if you follow the gaming gang, you know I and some of the gang are actually pretty big fans of deck building games. All right, so you might be tuning in because you want to see me unbox The Order of Vampire Hunters, which is from Dark Gate Games. It's designed by Filippo Chirico. I'm taking a guess on that, with artwork and graphic design by Filippo Chirico and Alexei Popovici, or Popovici. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, plays in around 90 minutes. Game is available now, I believe. This was a successful Kickstarter. I have not seen any links whatsoever online as far as stores you can purchase this from. And if you go to the Dark Gate Games website, it directs you to their Kickstarter. Now, I have seen some secondary market links, so it is possible this is just starting to arrive from the Kickstarter. Maybe it's hitting backers now. I'm not sure, but let's move on over to the other camera here. I'm gonna pop on ye old reading specs, and I am gonna take the shrink off of here because I already saw we're getting a little bit. Just getting a little bit of glare there. So, let's take a look at the back. Since the dawn of time, people have feared the night with good reason. A malevolent ape. I need a sip again. Jeez. Okay, first off, I've got something all over my reading specs. Yeah. I'm like trying to read it like through a haze. All right. A malevolent force is spreading through the unwatched backwaters of the world. The elders are reviving the creatures of the night, and vampires are adding victims to the body count and to their ranks. Can the Order of Vampire Hunters regain its former strength and once again defeat the tide of evil? So it's got a bunch of minis in here. So we are going to be taking a look at that. It looks like we've got 51 highly detailed plastic miniatures. So do want to point out there is also another Kickstarter from Dark Gate Games that is currently running. In fact, it funded in the first day. I think I want to say it launched Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday, and it's Dark Rituals, Malleus Maleficanum, I think, or Macarum. And it also has a bunch of miniatures. It's more of a fantasy game. And that carries an MSRP. I think, if I remember correctly, I think you can get it as a Kickstarter for $80. So it's possible that the Order of Vampire Hunters might run about $80 as well. I'm guessing it's probably 80 to 100. All right, we are getting a bunch of glare. Let's see if I can move this a little bit. Sorry, I'm bumping that out. Nah, still getting that glare. All right. So we've got the rules here. Pretty hefty rule books. Let's take a peek, see what we've got. All right, so we've got a little bit of info here. So it's telling us the Order of Vampire Hunters is a dark atmospheric game. Think of classic moments from vampire mythology, and you'll be recreating those scenes in the game. Staking vampires to the heart? Check. Tearing down window coverings and burning the vampire horde in the sun? Check. Losing control of your mind to a centuries-old undead creature? Check. Getting bitten and turning into a vampire yourself? Check. So we do have solo rules. There's it shows it scaling gameplay for 2 to 4 players, standalone or campaign play, and there's cooperative or competitive modes. So a lot of different ways that we can play this. So it's showing off the game components here. Wow, lots of game components. Holy cow, we're still going. What do we see? The setup. Okay, so we got some map tiles. Talking about the setup, rules, summary, turn structure. We have setup phase, alternating activation phase day, alternating activation phase night, end of round phase. Talking about game mechanics and terms. Now, of course, normally a game that's going to be kind of miniatures driven is going to have meatier rules, more complexity to it. So talking about resolving an encounter card. It's like some combat examples here. Talking about attack rolls. Custom breakage die. All right, I guess you get to probably roll every attack to see if like you run out of ammo or if like your weapon breaks. I've seen that before. I've seen that kind of mechanic before. So trading, dropping, picking up, sunset, and the awakening. So of course I would take a guess the vampire hunters kind of have the advantage during the daytime, and then at night, well, the undead have the advantage there. So we got more examples of attacking. Vampires in closed rooms. Elder vampires. Relics. There's a lot to this. Okay, objectives and winning. Each hunt has objectives for the players. Some end the hunt, some simply give extra rewards. Winning and losing. First, you can't win if you lose. There you go. That makes a lot of sense. I understand that. You can't win if you lose. Talking about game options, we've got some advanced rules. Playing turned hunters. Talking about number of players. Talking about cooperative mode, competitive mode. Okay, so competitive mode is everybody's still playing. Looks like everybody's playing a hunter. So nobody is actually controlling the vampires. So, taking a peek here. And we got some campaign rules. Talking about campaign 1, campaign 2. So I'm taking a guess maybe we've got these hunt cards. Okay, so here's the first hunt. Oh, maybe not. Maybe these are just showing you how the hunts break down. So 1 through 6 is one campaign. Yeah, it looks like no, we got hunt 10 in there. And then we've got 7 through 12. Looks like it's another campaign. Talking about special rules. Showing this hunters here. Getting a little bit of info on the side here of the different hunters. So looks like we got 4 hunters. Yep. And that's kind of a bummer. I usually like games that where each of the players are taking on a character. I like it where you've got some extra characters that, you know, if it's a 4-player game, maybe you have 6 or 7 characters you can choose from. As opposed to, well, there's 4 players, max 4 players, we'll give you a max 4 characters. So, but I'm not saying that that's making this a bad game or anything like that. I'm like just saying, that's a little disappointing. Now, I believe, I am almost positive, that there is actually an expansion for this as well that is about the size of this box too. So I'm almost positive that may have just simply been, I don't think it was a kick. I gotta be honest. I don't think it'd be a Kickstarter exclusive, not a whole expansion, but I'm almost positive that I saw somebody was on eBay and they were, I'm going to move this over here so we don't get that same glare popping up. Well, doesn't matter. We got glare coming over there too. So put it there. They were, I swear they had the core game and then they had an expansion. I think they were asking $400. I was like, okay, you guys are nuts. Right, so we got basic weapons, inventory, ID card. So these are a little bit different. This has an extra inventory slot, so maybe this is for like an easier version of the game, having an extra inventory slot there. So I would take a guess the players each have one of these. They're gonna put their vampire hunter on. Yep, there's 4 of these. We've got the night and day track here, so we're gonna no doubt be marking the turns here as day turns to night and night turns to day. So these are dual-sided room tiles. That's pretty cool. Pretty gory. A lot of blood splashed all over these. And they are different. They are not the same. So, all right. So that's one there. Got another one here. Got another one here. I'm taking a stab in the dark, not, whoops, let's turn this way. I'm taking a stab in the dark that these are not all necessarily connected. Looks like this is connected here. Because that looks like that's like almost like cobblestone outside. Well, no, I guess not cobblestone, but stone, like a stone walkway outside. It doesn't look like there's any connection there, but yeah, who knows? I might be wrong. We're gonna have another sip over here. Well, I definitely like the graphic design of these. Pretty nice and really thick stock too. This isn't just cheapo paper or anything like that. So I believe this has a like modern, yeah, it's got to be modern. Their tires right there. I was gonna say it's a modern theme. All right. Okay, cool. It's like a lot of basements and things like that. So we got a bunch of tokens here. We got various different tokens. I'm taking a guess these look like splashes of blood, so I'm going to take a guess that these are damage markers. You know, like a fist here. Not sure what that might be. It's like we've got some other tiles we kind of punch out for smaller areas for the battle to take place. Looks like we might be looking at just area to area, because we're not looking at, this isn't broken down into a small grid or anything like that. Looks like those might be doors. I think those might be doors there. And dual-sided. Okay. Got some more of the tokens here. It's like, It's like basically the same exact punch board. Yeah, it is. Same exact punch board again. Is this the same exact thing here? Yeah, it is. With the canisters, with the drums that are knocked over and that, the human bones. All right, so I'm taking the stab here. We're going to open this puppy up and we're going to start checking out some of these miniatures. So let's see what we got. All right, come on. Drop it out that way. Make life a little easier for us. I'll move that there. So, of course, all right, so we got the miniatures, we got some of the cards, we got a bunch of dice. Got a bunch of six-sided dice, and then we've got that red breakage dice that we saw. Got a deck of cards here, so we've got different equipment. And for some reason, I thought we had, like, random encounters or something like that. So we got discs to place the miniatures on. So we've got those. So I'm taking a guess we got 2 levels of miniatures here. Yep. All right, so I'm going to zoom in so we can get a better look at some of these minis here. There we go. So it looks like these are the heroes up top. So let's see if we can get a little closer in. And so he's carrying a crossbow. Crossbow, it looks like a knife. Almost what that looks like here. That's one of the heroes. Another one of the heroes here. These are kind of... See, what I don't get is... This isn't real soft plastic, but... It almost looks like this is a spear of some sort, but the spear kind of bows. I don't know. Kind of weird. But yeah, this is not soft plastic. So I have no idea what that's supposed to be in his hands. So, all right, so we got that. Okay, we got another one of the hunters here, and looks like that's a shotgun. This looks like shotgun, and looks like he might be carrying a stake. Okay, so it's another one there. So we got a hunter here. You know what? That's bent. That's bent way over. That's okay. A lot of times, if you have a little bit of bending, all you really need to do is you just simply, as odd as this sounds, if you're not familiar with plastic miniatures, you boil some water, drop it into some boiling water, and pull it out quickly, and then just kind of reset it. Okay, so that's weird, because I could have swore we saw that there were 4 characters, but it looks like we've got 5 heroes. Right? Because I think these are all heroes up here. I think. So looks like she's carrying like a hand crossbow and another stake possibly. It's like pretty good detail on these. So that's cool. Not real soft detail or anything. Now we've got looks like we've got 5 of these. And we can tell that these are not the Twilight. These aren't Twilight vampires. So I kind of move it off to the side here, get a little better look. So she's wearing like a dress, and she's kind of sagging there in front. So she looks like almost like a rotted corpse. We got another guy here. He looks kind of like he's almost like a zombie as well. Yeah, brains! Brains! So he's all kind of like lurching forward. Just like so. Cool, nice. Yeah, I wish, gosh, I wish I had time to really paint miniatures. I was pretty good at it. Pretty good. Little, well, okay. So I would not say I could ever, like, get stuff into contests or anything like that. But I will point out that, better than, like, just table gameplay paint jobs. So it looks like this is some sort of a kind of vampire. It looks like we've got 10 of these. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool looking. These are 28 millimeter. These aren't. These don't strike me as a bigger, like 32 millimeter. So that is just my eyeball on that. I'm eyeballing it at about 28 millimeter. All right, let's see what we got for these over here. All right, well, we got some big dude there. All right, let's see what this is. We got some more smaller cards, I see. That's kind of creepy looking. As you can see, it's got almost like tusks on it. Almost like a shell on the back. Cool. All right, then we got more of these. Well, his wings look a little bit different than that one guy we were. The one style we were looking at. This style here, right? This almost looks like this kind, like their chest opens up or something. That's what it almost looks like there. See how it's kind of open there? That's pretty wild. Seems to have more of a kind of a John Carpenter's vampire vibe, or even From Dusk Till Dawn sort of vibe to the sculpts here. Cool. So we've got 6 of these, right? Yeah, we got 6 of these. It looks like almost like a, I almost said a werewolf, but no, it's more like a dog, like a devil dog. It's got kind of a freaky head on it. Pretty wild. All right, so we've got 6 of those. I'm guessing we're getting into like more powerful creatures here. Okay, so then we've got, almost looks like a gargoyle. And it's got its wings fully extended here. So whereas this doesn't have any sort of hands on it. So it's basically like a giant bat. Kind of. Not exactly, just kind of. Because bats don't have legs like this. So there are 5 of those. 6, I'm sorry, 6 of those. Now we get some big baddies. This guy looks pretty cool. This looks pretty sweet here. He's got like a spear. Oh no, actually it looks more like a trident. And it has like human skulls on it. And it's kind of doing one of those. I have the power. I like that. I like that trident. Or well, yeah, pitchfork, trident, whatever you want to consider that. So that's one of those. Then we got kind of a mutated looking thing almost. That looks pretty wild. I noticed they're like their faces and that are all kind of like distorted a little bit. They don't have just they almost look mutated, right? So, oh, that's pretty nice. And then this is the last one. This is pretty big. It's almost like I don't know, not even. kind of an odd, it's not wings really. It's almost like shadow emerging from it, but I mean kind of like wings, but once again, pretty messed up face there. Cool. Pretty cool. All right, so those are the minis. Let's take a look at some of these cards. Let me zoom back out just a little bit. We don't have to zoom way out, but just zoom out a little bit so we can see these cards. Looks like I'm gonna have to use ye old hobby knife. So we've got a deck of bigger cards, and then we've got 3 decks of smaller cards. So I'm taking a guess that maybe some of the smaller cards are going to be weapons and things like that, because that looks like that's what would fit on these inventory cards that we saw earlier, right? The basic weapon and inventory, things like that. So I guess, okay, so these are going to be weapon cards. We've got inventory cards. I'm going to take a guess our hero IDs are in this deck of bigger cards too. No, in fact, I think, oh, maybe not. Well, maybe these are actually by, oh yeah, it's by character. Oh yeah, it wasn't a shotgun, it was a flamethrower he's got. I thought that little canister at the bottom, I was like, what in the hell is that? You know, I was like, yeah. Okay, so we got, that's Joshua. So Joshua's got the wooden stake and a flamethrower. Sarah has the wooden stake crossbow. As we can see, we've got different skills, or, you know, here we're seeing 2, 3, a 5 or higher, 4 or higher. Magenta. So Magenta has a crossbow and a wooden stake. And then we've got Stefan, wooden stake and a crossbow. Okay, clear shot. Take cover. Let's see what these cards are. Okay, so these cards are combined attack card. So we got red and green. Combined attacks. Okay. So I'm going to take a wild stab that the heroes are able to team up to make an attack. Maybe you get to use these cards. Okay, so now we've got the characters themselves again. So here's, this must be the ID card. So we got Joshua, Sarah, Magenta, Stefan. So what's that 5th? Who's the 5th? Who's that 5th? Who's this guy? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who is this guy then? This guy right here. Because this is Joshua. So let me grab it off to the side. That's Joshua, because that's the flamethrower. Which is weird. I gotta be honest, I don't know. I've never seen a flamethrower that's got like a little canister. It's usually something that goes on somebody's back. Okay, so that's Joshua, right? So we know that the 2 women have the kind of like hand crossbows. Okay, and then this is Stefan, right? Yeah, so that's Stefan. Stefan's got the stake and a crossbow right here. So I don't know. I have no idea who this guy is. We'll find out. Maybe there's a card in here. Okay, so we got Hunter Actions. Looks like we've got 4 kind of like player aid cards. Talking about special rules. Hunter Actions, free Hunter Actions, turned Hunter Actions. Move action generates 2 movement points, is my guess. Then we got day and night. All right, so these are monsters, right? Okay, so the thing that's like a dog is a guardian. Then we got the thrall. Giant bat. Yeah, I figured that was supposed to be a giant bat. A burrower. So this thing, the thing that's right here, that's a burrower. A warrior. Okay. What is that? Uper? Looks like UPYR. A Daywalker. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, right here. It's UPYRS. The Daywalkers. Sunlight doesn't affect them. Fear. Ivaki. And then Lord Kopus. Or Kophus. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so those are all these cards. I'd still like to know who this guy is. Who are you, dude? Don't know. Okay, so those are these cards from the smaller deck, or I should say, it's not size-wise, but number-wise, smaller deck. And we got these 3 decks here. Let's pop these open, take a look. This is interesting. This looks like this could be kind of interesting. Personally, I probably would have liked to have seen maybe a little more variety as far as the vampires themselves, but it's not like you're getting like 20 of one. I mean, I think the most we saw is like 6. No. Well, yeah, I think 6 of a single sculpt. I think this one here, with that style like that, is actually the same kind of creature as this one here, just a different sculpt. Okay, so we have Activation Night. This might be one of these games where you got a bunch of little decks of cards. Okay, so these are all Activation Nights. Boom. Activation Day. Terror Event. Dun, dun, dun. I hate when that happens. Okay, so whoop. Are they all terror events? No. Okay, so these are terror events here. Compulsion. Okay, so that finishes up with compulsion cards. I'm just putting these off to the side. Get these other ones open up too. Alright, might as well open that other one as well. Special abilities. Okay, so special abilities probably would have been a good idea if they had kind of different colors so you don't accidentally mix them up, although it's possible maybe green cards represent things for the hunters, whereas red cards are for the vampires. That's a possibility. Okay, so these are all equipment here. I bet you that's exactly how it works. Elder Influence. Okay, that's all those cards here. Then we had Relics. Got items. All those are items there. Then we've got encounters. I think that's going to be it. Then this is Extractor. Okay, so that's what this character is here. He is the Extractor. So it's almost like a harpoon and then he reels it in. Okay. All right, I guess so. It says if you are 5 areas or less from Pete, discard to destroy a vampire in your area. Okay. All right. So Pete must be like an NPC who helps you out. All right, so let's just real quick, we'll take a look. So encounter, looks like it's just telling us how many of each we're going to face off against. So I would take a guess, maybe we're looking at solitaire, 2 to 3 players, 4 players. I don't know, maybe. I'm just guessing. So you've got those. Let's take a look at the Elder Influencer. We'll look at the vampire stuff first. Okay, looks like different kind of tests. It's almost like because I noticed that the heroes, the vampire hunters, have these different kind of skills. Like there's a book, there's like there's a little brain. So it must be like knowledge, intelligence. That might be like a physical challenge there. Okay, kind of cool. And it's telling you, okay, this is what you need to roll higher than, and what happens if you pass, what happens if you fail. That might be what you need to roll higher on one die, 1d6. It's a possibility. Okay, so those are the Elder Influence cards. We've got terror events. Let's take a look at the terror events. It's going to tell you something here. A vampire catches your eye. As you stare at it, its form begins to waver. Okay. You shiver as you're suddenly filled with irrational fear. With each step you take, the dread grows greater until the trembling roots you to the spot. All right, okay. Kind of cool. So we got those. Then we've got compulsions. Fresh blood, thrill seeker, cold blood, quick kill. Maybe you take these for some of the big bads. I don't think you'd just be taking a compulsion for just the plain Janes, something like that. One of these creatures. All right, and then we've got activation night. Also, we got different sections. So we got section here, there. I wonder what these L1 and L2s mean. Like level 1, level 2, level 3. I would guess maybe you're using like the L1s for like easier games to start off with. That's a possibility. All right, we got activation day. Same kind of thing. Huh. I gotta point out, this looks pretty interesting. It's not, it doesn't strike me as, a game where it's just sort of like, yeah, whatever. Sometimes you see some of these miniatures games and you're like, well, what was the point of actually having miniatures in it? You could have just done standees. Special abilities. Whole vampire efficient counter. Soft spot. Dead shot. Okay, cool. So we got that. Got equipment. Med kit. Garlic fog. Firebomb. Sonic mask. At least it looks like we've got a lot of different stuff. So, silver vapor caltrops. Drop those. A bazooka. Ooh, okay, so we got that. And we got relics. So these are kind of mixed up a little bit. No, I guess that, I don't know. I have no idea why it's like two sides like that. Oh, you know what? I bet you it's like how many uses you get out of it. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Anything's possible. So it looks like you're using you might like be assembling. You might need to put together like pieces of the relic to create the relic to be able to fight the big bads. That's a possibility. That's kind of cool. I like that. All right, and then what's the last one we got over here? More items. Wait, was that? Yeah, okay. It says item. I see collapse. I'm like, how is collapse an item? Oh, I bet you you're probably pulling from this item deck. Looks like they're upside down here too. You might check for an item like searching or something, and maybe that's bad things can happen, right? See, there's a guardian there, so you're going to shuffle these up. So you may find stuff. So you find a bazooka? Just looking around? Okay. Fruit grenades. Oh, all right. Molotov cocktail. UV flash. Okay, so let's put these cards back in here. They were all like this. So we've got the various different smaller decks of cards. Quite a few of those. Broken up between vampires and hunters. And why is this kind of... Oh, I guess this mini's kind of sticking out a little bit. Okay, there we go. Get those in there. Get the extractor, Pete. I think that's what it said, Pete the Extractor. Okay, so we've got all these minis here. Let me zoom back out a little bit. Okay, so we got this level of miniatures. We got this level of miniatures. And then we've got the different colored stands. So I'm taking a guess. Blue is for the heroes. Red is for the baddies. We've got a bunch of punch boards. Oh, actually, I should be closing this up. Alrighty, let's get that on in there. Pop this on in here. Okay, so now we've got the punch boards. We got the various different combat areas. The combat tiles. We've got the ID, kind of like the hero boards here. We've got the night and day. Got a bunch of dice, which I think may have actually been in that box with the miniatures, but we'll figure. I'll figure something out. All right, and then we got the rules, and the rule book was about 45 pages. Was that about right? Let's take a look here. Oh no, 58. 58 pages, but looks like we got a lot of examples of play, a lot of images in here too, so very cool. In fact, you know what? We start getting into the actual campaign, and like around page 34. So it's not like it's all rules. All right, so we've got that, and that is what we find with the Order of Vampire Hunters. When we take everything outside the box. Pretty cool. This looks interesting. It really does. I like miniatures games. I hate when I'm disappointed by miniatures games. And yes, I know I'm sitting here talking about how I wish I had time to paint minis. I'm putting the cap on the hobby knife because otherwise I'll be wearing it in my hand or something. Because I'm one of these people where it's like, if you're playing a miniatures game, like if you played like Warhammer or 40K or Hordes or you know, the Privateer Press stuff, anything like that, and you don't paint your miniatures, that doesn't make any sense. To me, it's like, you know, you're missing out on the main aspect of the game, right? That's one of the big enjoyments of miniatures is painting up the minis. Whereas games that are kind of miniatures driven, like the Order of Vampire Hunters, you don't necessarily have to paint. Although, it plays a lot better if you got them painted. All right, so as I had mentioned before, the Order of Vampire Hunters is from Gate Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, plays in around 90 minutes. As I said, I believe it's out or it's shipping out to Kickstarter backers. I have not seen it available like in stores, and I haven't even seen it where you can pick it up from the Gate Games website. So I will try to track down some information about where you can get this outside of the secondary market. It's possible this may have just been one of these things where, you know, get it from Kickstarter, and if you don't get it on Kickstarter, you're out of luck. I also do want to point out, if the Order of Vampire Hunters looks pretty cool to you, there is supposed to be an expansion. And Dark Rituals, Malus Maleficarum, I think that's it, Maleficarum, is currently on Kickstarter right now for Gate Games. It blew past its funding goal in like a couple of hours. So it's a pretty cool looking fantasy miniatures driven game. So that is it for today's show. As I mentioned before, on Monday's show, I will be reviewing Codenames Marvel. Yep, right there. Codenames Marvel. And also want to point out, please consider donating to Lil Bub's Big Fund over at the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Sweet. Thank you very much. Anyway, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please go visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. And now you know the drill. Get your geek out at thegaminggang.com. I'm Jeff McAleer. If you're in the path of the winter storm, please be careful this weekend. Don't do anything silly. Don't go driving around on icy, slick roads or anything like that. In fact, you don't even have to be in the path of a storm this weekend. Take it easy, right? Never do anything goofy, because I want to make sure that you're here on Monday to watch me act like an idiot again, like a dope again. All right, so I like to say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.